Part 1. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zai. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 The Power of Surprise. The endless seaside, the waves crashing on the rocks made a pleasant sound. On a rock in the distance, you can vaguely see a girl with long hair being beaten by the waves. Yang Zizi slowly opened his eyes. The sight in front of him was the endless sea. There was a dilapidated village not far from the shore, but there was not a single villager in sight. Yang Zizi pressed his temples, unable to believe what he saw before his eyes. Why is he still alive when he has obviously been stabbed through the heart and died? Suddenly, a memory that did not belong to him rushed into his mind. These memories that do not belong to him can be inferred that she was reborn. I thought that rebirth was something that people had imagined, but I didn't expect that it was actually implemented in her. Yang Zizi lowered his head, and his appearance was reflected in the clear sea. Isn't this me? The original owner actually looks exactly like me, exactly. The original owner was killed by his cousin, but he himself didn't know who he had offended, so he actually killed him instantly. Since you have come, take care of yourself. Yang Zizi searched for the memories in his mind and prepared to return to the original owner's home with bare feet. Although the original owner's parents had gone their separate ways and followed other people, he still had a grandmother. Although her grandmother was not good to him, he still had 2 uncles and several cousins, but they all treated him badly and even bullied her. When Yang Zizi walked into the village, he saw villagers in 2s and 3s walking on the road carrying fishing gear. When they saw Yang Zizi, they all showed contempt, as if they were looking at an eternal sinner. Yang Zizi disagreed. The original owner was not liked. As soon as Yang Zizi walked to the door of his house, his cousins happened to be back from school. When they saw Yang Zizi, they were frightened. The 2 cousins even grabbed their cousin's trembling hands and said, "He is a human being, is it a ghost?" Although the 2 cousins looked calm on the outside, they were actually as timid as ants in their hearts. Don't worry, some fishermen may have rescued him. The eldest son of the uncle's family, who is Yang Zizi's eldest cousin, cautiously looked at Yang Zizi's guess and comforted his sister and said, "You can't even die, but it's really an advantage for you." The second cousin of the second uncle's family on the side put her hands on her hips, and her words and movements were extremely sarcastic. "If you want to die, I can help you in less than a blink of an eye." Yang Zizi suddenly arrived in front of his second cousin and grabbed his neck. The second cousin's face and neck immediately turned red, as if he would suffocate to death in the next second. Yang Zizi herself was a little shocked. She thought she didn't use much force, so why did he look like a dying person? The second cousin's biological brother, the second cousin, immediately became angry and wanted to attack Yang Zizi. Yang Zizi raised his hand and gave a gentle push. The second cousin's whole body was pushed away and hit the wall hard. He fell to the ground in a panic. Several cracks appeared on the wall. Just as the second cousin was about to stand up, Yang Zizi gently threw the second cousin away and hit the second cousin hard. The eldest cousin standing aside was so frightened that her face turned pale, and she could neither retreat nor stand still. "If you want to die, tell me anytime. I'll give you a ride." Yang Zizi glanced at them indifferently, clapped his hands and strode away. Yang Zizi found his home by searching for the memory of his original owner. There are 2 or 3 old people sitting in front of the house, chatting. The person sitting in the middle is the original owner's grandma. Her granddaughter has been missing for nearly a week, but she is not in a hurry at all and still has free time to chat with others. The original owner is also a miserable person. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zai. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 The Weasel pays New Year greetings to the chicken. Grandma Yang Zizi called out gently. Grandma raised her head and saw Yang Zizi. She was shocked at first, and then disgusted. "Hey, your granddaughter is back. She ran away with that wild man." She must have been dumped and ran back. Grandma Li looked at Yang Zizi with a look of disdain and said sarcastically. Hearing what Grandma Li said, the original owner's grandmother's attitude towards him became even worse. Most likely, she chose to believe what Grandma Li said. Grandma Li, I heard that your daughter-in-law ran away with someone again. Just one simple sentence made Grandma Li so angry that her face was red and her teeth were itching with anger, and she didn't know what to say in reply. As if she was afraid of offending Grandma Li, the original owner's grandmother insulted Yang Zizi, and then even smiled at Grandma Li. Yang Zizi was too lazy to care. After all, it was the original owner's grandmother who raised him single-handedly. Although she beat and scolded him on weekdays, at least she still had the kindness to raise him. Yang Zizi smelled the smell of sea water on his body and was about to go inside and take a bath. Grandma Yang, please don't let him enter the house. It will be bad if it ruins your family tradition. Grandma Lin, who had been silent for a long time, finally said in a weird voice. The original owner's grandmother was instantly enlightened and immediately scolded Yang Zizi not to enter the house and asked her to stay out for the night. The homeless Yang Zizi had no choice but to return to the beach again. He could no longer remember his memory at all, and his mind was filled with the memories of the original owner. What kind of person he was originally, he wanted to know. After Yang Zizi left, the three old people immediately started chatting happily without any sympathy for Yang Zizi's poor child. I'm telling you, you raised her so much in vain. Firstly, she is not your biological granddaughter, and secondly, you didn't get anything. It's really not worth it. Grandma Li on the side felt very worthless for her grandma. Grandma Lin's eyes suddenly lit up, and she said as if she had remembered something, I went to town a few days ago and saw a piece of news saying that the world's richest man was looking for his long-lost daughter, and there was a reward of 100 million for the finder, but what happened to Grandma Lin and Li? The grandma didn't have a granddaughter of similar age, so she then suggested, why don't you use this opportunity to make him 100 million? She gave Grandma Yang a look as she said that. Grandma Yang would immediately figure out the deeper meaning. You mean to let Zizi pretend to be someone else's daughter? Don't worry, it's been 17 years and no one can tell. Grandma was timid, but under the constant instigation of Grandma Li and Grandma Lin, he began to be tempted and decided to discuss countermeasures together when the two sons got home in the evening. As night fell, it was already dinner time. The smell of food wafted from the distance. Unknowingly, Yang Zizi also felt hungry. The original owner grew up on the seaside and often went fishing with his family. Over time, swimming became an essential skill for him. Yang Zizi is very good at swimming, maybe he was also a good swimmer before. Within a short time, Yang Zizi caught 2 fish and landed them, picked up some dry matches and started grilling the fish. After a hearty meal, Yang Zizi was about to lie down and look at the stars in the sky to fall asleep, when the voices of a group of people suddenly came from behind. Zizi, I saw the uncle happily dragging his family over. You silly boy, why are you staying at the beach? It's cold at night. What should you do if you catch a cold? Big Bo looked at Yang Zizi with a look of pity, and then looked around for how to make Yang Zizi to keep warm. I happened to see my daughter coming out with a coat on. Without saying anything, she stepped forward and pulled off the coat from my cousin and put it on Yang Zizi. Could it be that the original owner's memory and his own memory were confused with each other? Why did the original owner's uncle look like a pug and nodded and bowed to him? In the memory given to him by the original owner, he often beat, scolded, and even abused the original owner. The weasel is not kind to the rooster when it wishes him a happy new year. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 True and False. Yang Zizi wants to see what kind of trouble this big family is going to do. The eldest cousin looked at Yang Zizi with a death stare, becoming more and more dissatisfied with her. When she got home, her uncle actually arranged her eldest cousin's room. You know, in this village, every girl didn't envy her eldest cousin's princess-like bedroom, and her uncle was actually willing to let her give it up. Yang Zizi is not polite. Sleeping is a big deal, so you must not treat yourself badly. Lying on my eldest cousin's bed, it was quite comfortable. It was better than the original owner's small room with a bed, a table, and cockroaches crawling everywhere. The next morning, a noisy sound suddenly reached her ears, waking her up directly. Yang Zizi rubbed his sleepy eyes, feeling angry when he got up. "Where is my little granddaughter?" The old man's anxious voice seemed to be asking someone, and his tone was surprised and happy. Yang Zizi got up and walked out, and happened to see a group of people gathered around talking about something. Yang Zizi saw several limited edition BMW cars parked in front of the door. Grandma noticed Yang Zizi, walked to Yang Zizi, pulled her over and said to the old man, "This is your long-lost granddaughter. We took him home at the foot of Phoenix Mountain." "What? He is actually the daughter of a wealthy family?" "Oh. No, no, the original owner should be the daughter of a wealthy family." The old woman's eyes suddenly filled with tears. She looked at Yang Zizi with her crystal clear eyes. Her outstretched hands were shaking badly. "My baby, Grandma finally found you." She was about to hug her. Yang Zizi instinctively dodged in an instant. This family was too hasty in recognizing their relatives. Even with a single sentence from the grandmother, they determined that she was their little granddaughter. "I am not your granddaughter," Yang Zizi resisted, but looking at this old and kind old man, she was reluctant to hurt her. "Silly boy, you are Grandma's baby. Grandma felt very kind to you the first time she saw you. If you don't believe it, get a paternity test before you go home." When the uncle and the others heard this, they immediately panicked and were now in a dilemma. However, they quickly calmed down and pretended that nothing happened. Yang Zizi was taken to the hospital by the Gu family and did a paternity test, and the results came out quickly. The paternity test form actually shows that he is biological. Could it be that the original owner was indeed the eldest lady of the Gu family? It's such a pity. If the original owner was still there, he would be very happy. Several members of the Gu family burst into tears when they saw the paternity test form, which was completely different from their attitude towards him in the village. As promised, this is a small token of appreciation from us. Thank you for taking care of my little granddaughter with all your heart and soul over the past 17 years. Grandpa winked at the bodyguard in black, and the bodyguard handed over the safe he was holding to Uncle. The uncle took it tremblingly, and the weight of the box almost made him drop it. Yang Zizi finally understood. The Yang family had no idea that the original owner was actually the eldest daughter of the richest family. They just took the risk to confuse the fake with the real one for money. Unexpectedly, the fake one turned out to be real. It's okay, this is what we should do," the uncle said with a smile, his eyes never leaving the box. Yang Zizi didn't want to go with them, but if the original owner was there, he would definitely choose to return to his relatives, thus fulfilling the original owner's wish to find his biological parents. Furthermore, Yang Zizi wanted to recall how he died and who he was before. There was no trace of him in this small village, so he left the village with the richest man. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 4. Chapter 4, True and Fake Daughter of Gold. On the way home, Grandma held his hand tightly and never let go. The smile on her face never disappeared. This shows how precious he is to this granddaughter. When she opened her mouth, she was like a baby bump on the left and a baby bump on the right. "I love you so much." Grandpa dotes on him even more, and his parents are also smiling. The two brothers accompanying him don't seem that happy. When we got home, Grandma said to Dad Gu with an unhappy look on her face, "Hurry up and call the stars out. Mom, Xing is reviewing the college entrance examination will be in half a year, so don't disturb her, Gu's mother said. Is it important to have your own relatives for the college entrance examination? Grandpa also spoke fiercely for Grandma, and he was a doting maniac on his wife. Father Gu and Mother Gu were helpless and allowed the servants to call Gu Xing down. Not long after, an extremely impatient girl came down the stairs. When she saw Yang Zizi for the first time, her mind was shaken, and she felt that there were many crises around her. He is the real daughter of the Gu family. Come on, Zizi, this is your sister. She came to our Gu family when she was 6 years old. Although she is not our Gu family's biological child, she grew up beside us and gave us a lot of joy on your behalf. I hope you will sisters can have a deep love for each other, Grandma explained with a smile while holding Yang Zizi's hand. My sister is finally back. My grandparents and parents have fulfilled their wish. My brothers and I will take good care of my sister. Gu Xing took Yang Zizi's hand and said innocently. She looks like a good girl with an innocent and harmless face. As he spoke, Gu Xing turned his head and glanced at the two brothers standing aside. There was a smile on his face, but there was an unpredictable look in his eyes. There is no doubt that Gu Xing is very sweet, but the feeling she gives herself is particularly uncomfortable. Yang Zizi smiled politely and did not answer anything. At this moment, Gu Xing naturally endured it again and again. After all, it was exposed that she was a fake daughter. It was lucky that the Gu family could still accept her as their daughter. The night when she learned the news about her granddaughter, her grandma had prepared all her daily necessities. She had everything she should have, and she also had things that no one else had. This little life was simply more luxurious than the princess in the castle. One night, her grandparents were all around her, pampering her to no end. The attitudes of parents and grandparents are different. They don't seem very happy, but rather helpless. Yang Zizi is not very clear about the specific situation. There are two brothers who are very good looking, but they are cold, and they completely turn a blind eye to him. Just when Yang Zizi was getting ready to go to bed, there was a sudden knock on the door. Yang Zizi opened the door and it was Gu Xing. She was holding a glass of hot milk and looking at him with a smile. Sister, I've specially warmed up a glass of milk for you, come on, drink it while it's hot so you can sleep well. Gu Xing smiled gracefully. No need, Yang Zizi responded to him coldly. It's not that Yang Zizi is difficult to get along with, but the first impression Gu Xing gives him is always an indescribable feeling. Just as Yang Zizi was about to close the door, Gu Xing's face suddenly changed and his expression became fierce. You really think of yourself as the eldest lady? Let me tell you, the daughter of the Gu family can only be me. Perhaps this is Gu Xing's true face. She has endured it for a day and a night. Gu Xing saw Gu's mother walking this way, her face seemed impatient. Gu Xing took the opportunity to throw the milk in his hand to the ground, and the milk was spilled all over the floor. Hearing the sound, Mama Gu quickened her steps and walked forward. She looked at the milk spilled at her feet and looked at Yang Zizi angrily. Yang Zizi was extremely puzzled that a mother would look at her own daughter with such eyes. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 5. Chapter 5 The rivalry between brother and sister. Mom, it's okay. Maybe my sister is not used to drinking a glass of milk before going to bed. After all, she grew up in the countryside. Gu Xing's words not only highlighted his understanding, but also made him appear decent and generous. If you don't like the drink, just say so, it's a waste of Xing's kindness. Mother Gu looked at her with disdain. Yang Zizi has always believed that there is no mother in the world who does not love her children, but the biological mother of the original owner in front of him made him redefine maternal love. Whether it was me who fell or not, it's clear from the video. Yang Zizi looked at Mother Gu indifferently. She actually had such a mother. Mother Goo's expression froze for a second, and then she became stern again. No need to look at the surveillance, I just saw it with my own eyes. Mom, don't blame my sister, he doesn't understand many things when he first comes to our house. Wait for me to teach her slowly. Gu Xing took Gu's mother's hand and comforted her in a sweet way. Mother Gu glanced at Yang Zizi. When the two people are compared in this way, the obvious differences are clearly revealed. Mama Gu couldn't even believe that she had given birth to the girl in front of her. She was not as considerate and sensible as her adopted daughter. Yang Zizi didn't want to explain anything anymore because he knew it was just in vain. Yang Zizi was about to close the door and go to sleep, but Mama Gu angrily held the door open to prevent him from closing the door. Are you still waiting for someone else to clean for you? Whoever spilled it will clean it up, Yang Zizi said and gently opened the door. Mother Gu staggered due to the force of the door and almost fell downstairs. Mom, are you okay? Gu Xing hurriedly ran forward to help her. It's too late to be so arrogant, Mother Gu said angrily. The next morning, Gu's mother had forgotten what happened last night, but Gu Xing's oblique reminder made Gu's mother suddenly furious. Thanks to the mediation of her grandparents, Gu's mother did not dare to say anything. After all, it was still her grandparents who were running the house. Today is the weekend. Gu Xing has dressed up early and went on a date. Grandpa and Grandma told Yang Zizi that they had already chosen a school for her, and they were in the same school as Gu Xing. They both happened to be taking the college entrance examination at the same time this year. With his grades, he can still get into a university. A sarcastic voice came from above. I saw the two brothers lazily walking downstairs, with their hands in their pockets, looking bohemian, but this did not affect their superb appearance at all. The original owner's results were indeed unsightly, but she, Yang Zizi, wanted to make the original owner counterattack and become a top student. I heard that Xing brought you milk last night. Not only did you not appreciate it, you also knocked the milk to the ground. I'm warning you, don't be ungrateful. The second brother held his pocket with one hand and pointed to the poplar seeds with the other, arrogantly. Warned. Yang Zizi stood up from the sofa in the blink of an eye, grabbed Gu Zao's index finger, and said calmly, didn't your mother tell you that it's rude to point at others? Gu Zao's expression instantly became painful, and then he heard the sound of bone marrow breaking. Gu Zhao couldn't help but scream. The eldest brother Gu Zixi wanted to step forward to help, but Yang Zizi pushed him lightly and flew 10 meters away. Yang Zizi didn't know why there was such a strong force in his body. Yang Zizi felt that he was bored, so he helped him connect the bones, clapped his hands, and sat down on the sofa in a domineering manner. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 6. Chapter 6, Passing on from generation to generation. He is going to a new school next week, and Yang Zizi is going to the mall to buy some daily necessities for himself. The original owner was underage and did not have a driver's license, so he had to recruit an older brother to be the driver. On the premise of using violence, of course. Buying all the big and small bags they liked, the two brothers' cards were maxed out by Yang Zizi. Gu Zhao and Gu Zixi were so humble that they almost knelt down and begged to be let go. When Yang Zizi was about to go home, he accidentally saw Gu Xing, wearing a suspender belt, looking at the man opposite him with a red face, who must be his boyfriend. Looking at the back, this man is not simple. This is Yang Zizi's first impression of him. Yang Zizi was not very interested in this, so he went home humming a little tune and minding his own business. The young man opposite Gu Xing suddenly turned his head. After the weekend, Yang Zizi officially entered the best high school in the country and started his senior year of high school with only 6 months left. Gu Xingxing's grades are indeed not just words. He ranks first in the school every time he takes the weekly exam, and there is never any surprise. During the 6 months of preparation for the exam, Yang Zizi spent very little time reviewing, and spent most of the time running around without knowing what he was doing. Grandparents just pampered her and never interfered with what she wanted to do. They provided for her every day just like they provided for her ancestors, and any unreasonable requests would be met unconditionally. But mom and dad saw it in their eyes and felt disgusted in their hearts. They always sighed, is this really their daughter? 6 months passed very quickly. Under the scorching sun, the school gate was crowded with people, all of whom were parents sending their children to take the college entrance examination. Grandpa and Grandma stuffed water and food into Yang Zizi's hands, fearing that the child would be thirsty and hungry. Gu's mother and father didn't care about Yang Zizi at all, and gently asked Gu Xingxing something. In the end, Mother Gu couldn't stand it any longer, so she suddenly said, "Mom, this is the college entrance examination." Grandma Gu naturally knows how rigorous the college entrance examination is, but her weakness is that she is afraid that her baby will be hungry, thirsty, or injured. Before entering the school, Gu's parents didn't give their biological daughter a word of encouragement. Grandpa and Grandma also scolded the couple for this, and the couple only responded perfunctorily. The 2-day college entrance examination is over, and my grandparents specially prepared a banquet at home to welcome the baby who had been working hard to prepare for the exam during this period. As soon as Yang Zizi entered the door, his grandparents ran up to him with special affection and took the stationery from his hand. They pulled him to sit on the sofa and have a good rest. They fed him fruits and prepared Yang Zizi's favorite food. "How are you? Are you tired? Do you want to take a rest and let's have a banquet again?" Grandpa looked at Yang Zizi with doting eyes and cherished her very much. Mother Gu on the side rolled her eyes. "Why, the elder has to wait for a junior to eat." It's okay, my grandparents made something delicious," Yang Zizi said and ran to the dining table. The table was filled with delicious food, all of which he loved. The whole family sits together to eat, and it feels like 2 families. 1 month later, the results of the college entrance examination were announced. What shocked everyone was that Yang Zizi ranked first in the national college entrance examination and the top scorer in the college entrance examination in Province A. Gu Xingxing ranked second only to Yang Zizi. Grandpa and Grandma were as happy as children. They said that even if they wanted the sun in the sky, they would find a way to pick the poplar seeds and give them to her. Mum and Dad Gu were even more surprised by this, and they also eliminated any doubts about the identity of this daughter, which was passed down from generation to generation. My grandfather was the first in the National College Entrance Examination in 1960, my father was the first in the National College Entrance Examination in the 1980s, the eldest brother was the first in the college entrance examination in the previous 2 years, the second brother was the first in the college entrance examination the year before last, and the little sister of the Gu family was the first in the college entrance examination this year. First. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 7. Chapter 7 Love at First Sight. During the 3-month summer vacation, Yang Zizi was as happy as a god. She traveled abroad every 3 days, and her grandparents and parents accompanied her throughout the whole journey and cared for her like a queen. The summer vacation is over, and the 2 brothers are looking forward to the start of school. This summer vacation has already cast a serious shadow on them. For the first time, he discovered that his grandparents could be so eccentric. Thinking back a year or 2 ago, they passed the college entrance examination and ranked first in the country. Their grandparents just smiled and patted his shoulders and told them to continue working hard. Just such a simple action and sentence. This comparison is not just a small difference. Going to school to report on the first day, the whole family was dressed up carefully, looking as if they were going to attend some grand ceremony. "Let's go," Grandpa and Grandma were as happy as children. Mom and Dad followed behind and obeyed the order, with no expression on their faces. Yang Zizi had a headache. How could his grandparents be so cute? Grandma, you are dressed so formally and neatly, as if I am getting married. Yang Zizi could not help but complain mercilessly. Grandpa and Grandma were smiling from ear to ear. Under Yang Zizi's dissuasion, the grandparents did not follow him in the end. Instead, he asked his two older brothers to be responsible for taking Yang Zizi to and from school. The two brothers thought they had escaped the clutches of their accompaniment, but unexpectedly, the bad news came again. The two brothers took Yang Zizi through a series of procedures according to the instructions of their elders. Enroll in school, receive supplies, choose dormitories. There is a month-long military training before the start of school. On the first day of military training, Yang Zizi hit a classmate more than 10 meters away in a high-profile manner. In order to prevent Yang Zizi from getting injured, his grandparents stopped him from undergoing military training. The principal also wished for this. He could still hide from such a powerful monster. After 1 month of military training, the freshmen officially began to enter the classroom. Yang Zizi stared blankly at the man in a suit on the podium. He had fair skin, a pair of dazzling black eyes that seemed to be able to see through all the sorrows of past and present lives, and an expression as cold as a star. The straight bridge of his nose was as silent and cold as ice. The words are loud and clear, and the ambition is as high as thousands of feet high. Yang Zizi rested his chin on the back of his hands stacked on the table, looking lovingly at the tall and straight man on the podium with an expression of passionately in love on his face. When he passed by her just now, he said to her, "Your lipstick is crooked." Yang Zizi recalled the sentence, trying to capture whether there was an imperceptible smile on his face in his memory. It seems, not at all. Get out of class is over. The professor's cold voice brought Yang Zizi, who was thinking about it, back to reality. Seeing that the professor was about to leave the classroom, Yang Zizi stood up and rushed over, chasing after him and calling his name, Lun Chenchi. When the professor introduced himself on the podium, Yang Zizi had already said this. The name is firmly in my mind. As the name suggests, he is indeed in a prosperous age. Lun Chenchi stood there stunned for a moment. Someone actually called him by his name. His eyebrows frowned slightly, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He stopped and turned around to look at Yang Zizi, who was running towards him. Yang Zizi ran to Lun Chenchi and stopped, saying in a breathy tone, "Professor, where are you going?" Lun Chenchi looked down at her condescendingly, as if he was surprised by her question. "Go back to the company," Lun Chenchi replied calmly. As a professor, he answered his questions patiently. After answering, he turned around and left. Yang Zizi ran up to him and stopped him. "Professor, do you need a bodyguard? I can resist and fight, and I can do anything." During class, Yang Zizi searched the internet for the man Lun Chenchi. It's hard to argue with famous figures across all fields that they don't want a bodyguard. What if one day I accidentally offend a certain dark force organization and are hunted down? No shortage. Lun Chenchi narrowed his eyes slightly, and a cold light emitted from his eyes, which was enough to penetrate everything in the world. Yang Zizi was frightened by his eyes for a while, then he regained his composure and promoted himself again. "I am powerful and can do anything." He wanted to show off his power, but he had nowhere to use it. "Do you still want the credits?" he asked suddenly. Yang Zizi looked up at him blankly. "Go back to class." Yang Zizi looked around. All the students who came to see Lun Chenchi in groups disappeared. Looking at the corridor, there were only two beautiful figures, one tall and one short, shining in the sun. "Then I'll find you after class," Yang Zizi said to him as he ran towards the classroom. After class, Yang Zizi took a taxi downstairs to Shenchi Enterprise, but the receptionist stopped her. "I am Professor Lun's student, and I came to him with an urgent matter," Yang Zizi said to the receptionist with a smile. President, the lady at the front desk looked surprised, but at the same time she didn't doubt Yang Zizi's words. Yes, it's your President Lun Zhenqi. I told him that I would come to him. The lady at the front desk smiled softly and looked at Yang Zizi as if she had seen a joke, but her tone was still very professional. I'm sorry, madam, our president is very busy, so we don't make appointments unless by appointment. Yang Zizi's temper is so bad. I'm his girlfriend. Do you still need to make an appointment? Yang Zizi suddenly raised his head and said to him. Looking at this momentum, she really thinks of herself as the girlfriend of the prosperous age. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Professor, do you need an assistant? The lady at the front desk suddenly covered her mouth and chuckled ridiculously, and solemnly reminded, Miss, our president is currently single. I just officially became his girlfriend today. Yang Zizi curled her lips arrogantly and said. You are Shenqi's girlfriend. Suddenly, a cheerful man ran over excitedly and asked Yang Zizi. Yeah, Yang Zizi nodded unconfidently, for fear of being exposed on the spot. But she didn't expect that not only was she not exposed, the man also grabbed her hand and ran to the elevator. Yang Zizi stood beside the man and watched his slender fingers click on the 18th floor. When did you and Zhenqi date? This guy didn't even tell me. He was so unloyal, but I still found out. The man smiled triumphantly about this. Just for today. Yang Zizi said it so often that he took it seriously. It can be considered a half-truth. The half-truth is that Yang Zizi has already regarded Lun Zhenqi as her boyfriend, and Lun Zhenqi is an unknown person. But it's fast. Today. Yang Zizi nodded. Then when did you meet? The man had a gossipy look on his face, as if he was very interested in the affairs of the heyday. Can he say it's also today? Yang Zizi thought for a while and answered truthfully, today. Today too. The man had the urge to hit the wall, but after thinking about it, it was nothing. The man looked at Yang Zizi eerily and thought to himself, this guy is really good at this. He likes old cows to eat young grass. Yang Zizi felt ashamed when he stared at him, so he looked up, down, left, and right. Needless to say, this elevator was a bit different. The 18th floor has arrived, the intelligent voice reminded. The man brushed his face and pulled Yang Zizi into the building. The entire floor looks very spacious, separated by transparent glass. After all, there are only 3 offices, but each one is extremely spacious. It is no problem for a family of 3 in one cubicle. Bai's Hisha pulled Yang Zizi into the largest cubicle and knocked on the door. Lun Zhenqi raised his head and looked a little impatient. He did not respond and continued to work with his head down. As he was used to it, Bai's Hishu, who was good at making decisions, pulled Yang Zizi into the office together. Lun Zhenqi, your little cutie has been delivered to you. Bai's Hishu pushed Yang Zizi in front of Lun Zhenqi, looked at him with raised eyebrows, and looked at him with an expression of so you are such a Lun Zhenqi. He was accustomed to it in his heyday, so he just treated him as abnormal and ignored him. Yang Zizi was nervous and embarrassed. Being pushed by the man, he could only wave to the perfect man opposite him in a mechanical way, and said hello to him with a voice as big as an ant, hi. Lun Zhenqi raised his head, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes, and then he glared at her and said extremely impatiently, classmate, this is not a school. Yang Zizi waved his hands repeatedly, pointed at Lun Zhenqi himself in a hurry and said, I'm not going to school, I'm here to find you. Lun Zhenqi was even more surprised and impatient. He had tried his best to suppress his bad temper. Zhenqi, don't be so arrogant, and don't even think about having a girlfriend without telling me. Bai's Hisha jumped up and sat on Lun Zhenqi's desk, playing with the figures on the table. Girlfriend, Lun Zhenqi's words were thorny, and he looked at Yang Zizi sharply with squinted eyes. Yeah, Bai's Hisha nodded heavily and said, isn't this your girlfriend? Don't think you can hide it from me. Lun Zhenji hooked his fingers, gesturing for her to come closer. Yang Zizi moved his steps obediently, his heart beating faster, and he didn't dare to look at Lun Zhenji. This classmate, I am your professor, please don't cross the line. Lun Zhenji's voice was deep and magnetic, but extremely cold, making people shiver. You just said that this is not a school, so your current status is not my professor, but the boss of this company. Are you right? Lun Zhenji leaned lazily on the office chair, with the corners of his mouth raised slightly, looking at the girl in front of him, who was so sharp-tongued. The melon eaters on the side sat down on the sofa at some point and looked at the two of them with interest. Unexpectedly, this kid in Lun Zhenji was actually cured by Yang Zizi, but it's okay, this kid has a destination. Bai's Hisha took Yang Zizi all the way to Lun Zhenji's office. Yang Zizi didn't see anyone else except Lun Zhenji. Doesn't he need a secretary assistant or the like, or has he not hired one yet? Professor Lun, are you short of an assistant? You can also serve as a bodyguard. I'm very cheap. I only need one salary, Yang Zizi said. Lun Zhenji raised his eyes and looked at him, narrowing his eyes slightly. This woman was really chattering. Lun Zhenji was about to answer when Bai's Hisha's voice sounded first. Hi, of course, we, President Lun, just need an assistant. Bai's Hisha looked at Lun Zhenji and raised his eyebrows with a smile. He assisted so hard. Lun Zhenji can't treat him badly. For Lun Zhenji, the current Bai's Hisha is so distasteful to him. What on earth does this boy want to do? A female employee came to our company today, Lun Zhenji said suddenly. Based on his initial understanding of the dialogue, this was the best and most effective way to expel him. Really? I'll go take a look. Bai's Hisha ran away as expected. Lun Zhenji suddenly stood up and pressed against Yang Zizi step by step. Yang Zizi's heartbeat accelerated and he had to retreat step by step until his back hit the cold wall. What is he going to do? For some reason, Yang Zizi was both afraid and looking forward to it. Professor Lun. Yang Zizi called him weakly. You want to be my assistant? Why? Lun Zhenji opened and closed his mouth, which looked so good looking in Yang Zizi's eyes. Well, What is the situation? I can't make any sound. Take a deep breath and don't be nervous. If you are nervous, you will lose. Huh? Lun Zhenji tilted his head, waiting for his answer. Because, Yang Zizi lowered his head, unable to say what he wanted to say. No, she, Yang Zizi, is not a coy person. If she likes something, she should say it openly. I like you. Yang Zizi suddenly raised his head and said a plastic English sentence. Lun Zhenji tasted it for a while before he understood what Yang Zizi said. Lun Zhenji looked at her with a half smile but not a smile. His expression was so complicated that Yang Zizi didn't know what he was thinking. Lun Zhenji chuckled, as if he was laughing at her for not knowing her own abilities, and he seemed to be mocking himself, and then asked, What do you like about me? I don't know, I only know that you are worthy of my liking in every aspect. Yang Zizi looked at him with a sincere face. Classmate Yang, don't let your impulses ruin your beauty of emotions. Lun Zhenji's eyes suddenly became gentle, with a hint of unnoticeable melancholy, and he touched the top of his head with his hand. Yang Zizi couldn't control himself anymore. Sometimes he was gentle, sometimes cold, and sometimes domineering. It would be a lie to say he wasn't moved. But what did he mean by what he just said? Why couldn't he understand it? Go back. Lun Zhenji sat on the office chair again and ignored him. How could Yang Zizi give up so easily? She trotted up to Lun Zhenji and asked, I have no classes tomorrow, can I work part-time here? Lun Zhenji looked up and was very impatient. His patience was only so much, and it was all exhausted by Yang Zizi. Lun Zhenji glared at him and dialed a phone number. Hello, this is 110. How can I help you? When Yang Zizi heard this, his hair stood on end and he snatched the phone from Lun Zhenji's hand with a snap. What this person did is too extraordinary, calling the police for such a trivial matter. Lun Zhenji indicated with his eyes that she could leave. Yang Zizi was so upset that he had to leave first. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. The glass was cracked by her. The next day, because there were no classes today, Yang Zizi ran to Lun Zhenji's company at 6 o'clock and found the elevator to go up. However, none of the buttons led to the 18th floor. Yang Zizi was now distressed. She suddenly remembered that the last time Bai Zhisha pulled him into the elevator, it seemed that it was not this elevator. Yang Zizi got off the elevator and finally found the elevator that went to the 18th floor yesterday, but it was locked. The screen showed that he had to swipe his face to open the elevator. Failed to brush face. Yang Zizi has a question mark on his head. Damn, you still need to scan your face in an elevator? After a while of struggling, Yang Zizi finally gave up on the elevator and climbed the stairs directly to the 18th floor. Although she was very tired, she kept saying to brainwash herself, climb the stairs to lose weight. The 18th floor was finally reached. Yang Zizi climbed such a high floor for the first time and broke the record in his life. Hand raised his hand to open the door. With a click, the door handle was directly removed. Yang Zizi looked at the door handle in his hand innocently. He really didn't mean it. Yang Zizi tried hard to get the doorknob on, but was unable to do so, so he had to hide the doorknob first. Yang Zizi glanced inside. Yes, this is it. Yang Zizi walked in, and the sudden piercing sound of the alarm startled Yang Zizi. He looked around hurriedly, not knowing where to hide. Fortunately, the siren only sounded for a while and then stopped. Yang Zizi was puzzled for a while and then began to look at the 18th floor carefully. Every cubicle was locked, including the largest one, Lun Zhenji's office. I have to say that Lun Zhenji's office is really luxurious. It's almost as big as a house. Yang Zizi was walking in the corridor and wanted to take a look inside other compartments, but couldn't see anything. Yang Zizi took out a rag from his bag, went to the bathroom to wet it, and began to clean the glass diligently. I thought happily, if Lun Zhenji saw how diligent he was, he would definitely be moved, and maybe he would hire her as an assistant. Yang Zizi smiled happily. Nearly half of the glass has been wiped, but the rag on Yang Zizi's hand is still white and clean, with not even a speck of dust stuck to it. Could it be that someone has already wiped it? Yang Zizi continued to wipe. Anyway, when the prosperous age of Lun came, we must see him working diligently. Suddenly, Yang Zizi's knee bumped into a strong knee, causing Yang Zizi to stumble forward a few steps. Yang Zizi stood up and looked back. Lun Zhenji was standing in front of him, looking down at him. Yang Zizi looked at him, and he instantly felt like he belonged to a certain grain of dust in the dust. But why is his expression so ugly? He helps him clean the glass, but he is still so angry. The moment Yang Zizi asked for praise, he pointed at the crystal clear glass he had polished. Look, I wiped it all. It's very clean. Even he himself knew for the first time that he could clean the house so cleanly. Not only did Lun Zhenji not look at it, but there was a hint of sarcasm in the corner of his mouth. You are so awesome. Yang Zizi smiled sheepishly, feeling really accomplished when being praised. It's okay, Yang Zizi said with a silly smile. It actually cracked the glass, Lun Zhenji said calmly. What? Yang Zizi turned around and saw that, sure enough, the glass he wiped was cracked. I wiped it very carefully, Yang Zizi explained. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 10. Chapter 10. How to be your girlfriend. Lun Zhenqi glanced at her and said nothing. He called someone to replace the glass and walked to the office. Just as Lun Zhenqi was about to close the door, Yang Zizi entered the office in the blink of an eye, like a bolt of lightning, and stood in front of him with a proud smile. A flash of shock flashed in Lun Zhenqi's eyes, and then he looked at Yang Zizi impatiently and solemnly. Do you know that the crime of harassment is enough to make you stay in jail for a few days? Of course I know. I'm not legally illiterate. Anyway, I have enough reasons. I can say that I'm here to ask you about a topic. You are my professor, right? Yang Zizi stuck out his tongue and said proudly. Lun Zhenqi instantly had the urge to throw the child out. But he is already a teacher, so he naturally has to set an example. Which topic don't you know? Lun Zhenqi sat on the office chair, took out paper and pen and planned to start his lecture time. Since the students have already come to the door, as a teacher, he cannot let down the students' diligence and inquisitiveness. How to become your girlfriend? Yang Zizi ran to Lun Zhenqi and asked excitedly. Lun Zhenqi looked at Yang Zizi with a solemn expression, then raised the corners of his mouth and chuckled. What kind of creature is a girlfriend? Yang Zizi was puzzled by Lun Zhenqi's question for several seconds. Perhaps it was because he was older that he wanted to skip this step and get married. Thinking of this, Yang Zizi blurted out again, then how do I become your wife? Lun Zhenqi's expression was even worse, and he seemed to have the urge to throw him downstairs. But Yang Zizi would fall in love with him. Lun Zhenqi thought that he was also at fault, and repeatedly told himself to calm down. As a student, the most important thing now is to study, Lun Zhenqi patiently advised him. Is he concerned about his studies? Yang Zizi was secretly happy. Don't worry, the learning efficiency of top students is very high, Yang Zizi said with a smile. His grades ranked first in the school, and he still had to worry about his own grades. I am a non-marriage person, Lun Zhenqi simply gave him a bomb. It doesn't matter, we can fall in love first, there's no rush. Yang Zizi blinked her big eyes and looked at him innocently. Lun Zhenqi is speechless. Not interested in women. But I'm a girl. Yang Zizi blinked his big eyes and looked at Lun Zhenqi. He wanted to hit a wall in his heyday. Why did he meet such a bully? Lun Zhenqi was a little impatient. He picked up the landline phone on his desk and dialed a series of numbers. After a while, the captain of the security room answered the phone. Lun Zhenqi directly asked him to bring a few people to pick up Yang Zizi. Get blasted out. The captain of the security team was really very efficient. Just when Yang Zizi was about to speak, the captain of the security room came in aggressively with a group of tall men in work clothes and bowed respectfully to Lun Zhenqi. The aura on his body was completely suppressed by Lun Zhenqi. Lun Zhenqi didn't even bother to raise his head and directly signaled the security team captain to drive Yang Zizi out. The next second the screen was in chaos. In the office, a thrilling battle took place. The girl's extremely fast speed and amazing strength knocked down all the stout security guards. Lun Zhenqi looked at the scene happening in front of him, touched his chin, and fell into deep thought. End of this chapter.